Okay, 안녕하세요. My name is Wilkine Brutus,
I'm Tom Gates.
and we are doing a collaboration video, obviously. I'm from South Florida. Where are you from, Tom?
I'm from South Florida.
We just found out that we both live in Busan, and we're from South Florida. So I don't know how we were so late on,
I don't know.
finding out who we were, but we made it happen.
Yep, better late than never.
Today we're going to discuss a few things, a few identity politics in Korea. A lot of YouTubers discuss more of the pet peeves and the things they like about Korea, but we're going to delve a bit deeper. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I do have a few questions here on my laptop.
I'm all about being risky a little bit.
Right. How do you identify yourself?
Name-wise, you mean, or my ethnic?
Yeah,
background.
culturally, ethnic background.
Let's see. When I'm in America, I usually just say that I'm like Korean American or like
Right.
Asian American or something
Right.
like that. In Korea, I usually just tell people, and just so you know, I looked at these questions yesterday. I haven't looked at them since, so it's all.
It's all coming back. So these are all authentic, pretty much. Authentic reactions.
Semi-authentic.
Yeah.
But in Korea, I usually tell people that I'm Korean.
Right.
Yeah, it's just because it's easier. I tell people that I'm Korean, from America.
Right.
If usually what I say is, I say this in Korean. I say 어머니는 한국 사람, 아버지는 영국의 미국 사람, which means he's an American of English descent.
Of English descent.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm aware that you actually have a North Korean mother.
Yeah.
That's pretty fascinating. You're the second person that I've met with a North Korean ancestry. The first one was a woman who was North Korean, but she was raised in Russia, which is possible. Obviously, there are Koreans in Russia. In regards to Gyopo, Korean Americans or Koreans who were born outside of Korea, they're called Gyopo. Do you see any differences with the way Koreans treat you with having a North Korean mother?
Your friend that's North Korean, did they kick her out now after the Olympics? We can cut that out.
Hey, that's a plausible question. Oh, that's deep. Who? Allegiance.
We're kidding.
That's deep.
Okay, so your question was, do they treat me differently?
Yeah,
Because of
since you have a
Korean?
North Korean mother. I mean, that's quite fascinating to be a Korean American in Korea with a North Korean mother.
Right. They don't treat me any differently. I think as soon as they find out that I'm Korean,
Right.
they're kind of, it's like, all right, well, he's Korean. Sometimes I do say that my mother is North Korean Bukhan Saram, and it's more or less kind of like okay, and I don't. If they do care,
Right.
they don't show it.
They don't show it. Yeah.
I'm sure there's people. Look, it's no different than America. There's
Right.
different shades of gray back in America that everyone puts labels on. And
Right.
So I'm sure the same happens here too.
Right.
But at least for me, they don't show it.
Yeah, labeling is such a tough thing because, I don't label myself African American. I label myself Haitian American because culturally, my heritage is from my mother's island, of Haiti. But I also have an African ancestry from the continent of Africa. And so Koreans would approach me and say, Africa! And I'm like, 아니요, 미국 사람이에요. 미국 사람. And it's not that I'm proud to say, no, I'm not from Africa, I'm from America. It's just a sense of, hey, listen, Africa isn't a country, and at least, be specific. Are you from Ghana or Nigeria?
Right.
I think the labeling is such a hard thing because we are bits and parts. We're just not one sole thing, right? Mm-hmm. Even my white friends, a lot of my white friends have a Jewish mother with a Polish father, and they're actually hyphenated, but they don't really have to mention saying, well, I'm German Polish or I'm Polish German. They have that privilege of not having to say that.
I don't know. It's I have a couple. I know a few people from a church that I go to.
Right.
They're a little older generation, but they're North Korean.
Okay.
I mean, they just seem to mix and mingle.
Right.
From my eyes standpoint, it looks like there's no big deal. But hey, just like back home, I mean,
Right.
a lot of people are here. They're your friend, but maybe they're not your friend.
Yeah, that's very
So
true.
if an outsider looking in, they might say, "Wow, everyone in America loves each other," when it's not really.
When it's not, yeah, it's a bit more complicated.
a little
than that.
more complicated.
And it will always be complicated because humans are always trying to seek social, cultural, and political capital every country they reside in, and since we're on that topic, on trying to gain that power, I did find one of the most interesting aspects of living in Korea is the discrimination against Asian Americans who are seeking English speaking jobs. I'm sorry, English teaching jobs. And that was quite fascinating because a lot of Koreans won't associate Asian Americans as foreign enough. They don't have the European appearance to seem like a native speaker with the ability to teach English effectively or whatnot. Any thoughts on that? Do you think it's just Koreans' inability to see or acknowledge different cultural backgrounds, or their inability to really look at power and how it's structured differently?
Well, I mean, I have not really
Experienced
technically
that.
met and I haven't actually met somebody that had that happen to them until
Right.
you just told me that you had a friend that happened to.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably a divide between your public school system hiring practices and your hagwon practices. So the hagwons are, they're these little businesses, or they could be major businesses, corporations and stuff. But
Right.
they're kind of left to their own devices.
Very true.
There's, it's not a government agency, so they're going to hire who they want to hire based on what they feel is the best fit. So that's where it kind of comes in, that maybe they're thinking that if you do fit a certain bill better, it's going to, if you're an individual business, you're going to look to do things that will generate revenue.
Right, and you're going to pander to the parents.
Yeah. So if
parents have a lot of power.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So that would suggest what you just told me about your friend. I mean, that would suggest that, maybe there is some of that then. It's definitely not with the EPIC program, which is the public school
Which is
program.
what we're both in. Thankfully. I love you, Epic. I love you.
Yep. Yeah, they're good. They're good to go.
Yeah. And it's much more secure to work with the government because you don't have to deal with those, those little side issues. If you can do your job, if you have some sort of passion, at least to learn how to be a better teacher, that's what's most important than the appearance and the ability to perform as a teacher. And yeah, right? Cuckoo. Make my students happy. Oh, you're an amazing teacher. No, did they learn anything? That's the most important thing. Do you think the new generation is looking at different cultures differently?
I don't know.
Accepting it more?
I don't know. That's a good question because I just read an article on the Chosun Ilbo, which is a big news outlet here in Korea,
Right.
and they have an English version. And they reported on a report by kind of like a think tank here in Korea
Okay.
that does surveys and with regards to all of Asia and globally as well.
Right.
And it kind of talks about the newer generation. Are they more xenophobic or not? And
Ooh.
the statistics would show that the younger generations are becoming more xenophobic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is quite shocking.
So I'm going to look a little bit more into that because I think that's something good to comment on, whether it's true or not.
I wonder how that correlates to a lesser degree to the new generation's issues with finding jobs and happiness, especially with a society that's deemed as workaholic. With being xenophobic, but they are losing traditional roles. So it's like, where is this balance? You're being more xenophobic if the reports is true, if the survey is true, but you're also being less traditional. I guess they're all trying to fight for like a common ground.
It's it's just funny. It's just perceptions, and I think that survey kind of suggests that that some of the younger generations are feeling this pinch socially.
Right.
Whatever that means, of foreigners coming in and also and that type of thing, which is causing them to maybe feel a little bit more closed in.
Man.
I'm gonna have to look into it a little bit.
Yeah,
more,
that's deep. That's deep.